copyright or something where it says copyrighted audio was picked up, but there's no music playing whatsoever. See if anybody even can see this now. It's supposed to do certain things. I just got kicked off here for copyrighted audio in the background, but there's no music playing at all. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but there's definitely no music playing. It's probably some, I don't know. I got 4 or 5 people that like subscribe to the channel just to give me thumbs down every video, and you know how it is. So I would assume that if I go live, they would send YouTube a copyright thing, like a real man would. Hey man, how's it going? Haven't seen you on here in a long time. About you know, showing the airsoft or what, but I mean, this is an airsoft gun, so I don't know what YouTube's got problems with that, but it said copyrighted audio in the background, so I don't know, whatever. Yeah, right. This isn't a monetized channel, so they can have a good time with that. Now the only problem is, will that actually come back up on my channel? Because I just explained something. Broken aftermarket Glock trigger tonight. What kind? All the LTT stuff, Saga, but I don't know if that video will pop back up, because I talked for 10 minutes or so and explained the entire process and why I'm not shooting the LTT right now. I am going to keep it, and I think I'm going to send it to a guy that ports the barrel, and then I'm going to do just put a magwell on it and just have it for a fun gun, because I'm not. After that, I just feel like, you know what, fuck them. I'm not shooting their gun in USPSA. I'm not going to Carry Optics Nationals next year, and probably won't do half as well as I want to, but still, if I did, I don't want to put an LTT in the top 30 or 40 or 50 or wherever I end up. It's just, it pisses me off. So, and if I probably told the guy I had a YouTube channel and stuff, even though it's a small YouTube channel, he probably would have been like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we'll just send you one then. But that's not how to act. People, like, I don't do lives very often, but I see in other people's live streams that like weird bot accounts will come in and they'll start talking about like racist shit or something, just to kind of mess up chats, I guess. Or, but yeah, if they try to you know, I've thought about the monetizing thing. I've just never. They say now that they'll monetize, or they'll run ads on your channel even if it isn't monetized. So at this point, it's kind of like, well, whatever. But I don't know if anybody ever sees ads on my channel. But that is, YouTube turns your channel off and on. My channel gets turned off and turned back on. I've been watching it for the last couple of months. I've gained 120 subscribers in the last like 25 days. Before that, I gained like 20 in the last 25 days. So it totally turns your channel off. You don't get I don't see barely a comment will trickle in here or there, and then all of a sudden it'll like come back on, and next thing you know, there'll be people subscribing and comments on old videos, and you see what videos get recommended, and like it's just like your channel gets completely turned off, and then it gets turned back on, and then it gets turned off and it's crazy. I don't know if it's some kind of cycle, but it seems pretty freaking weird to me. There, I'd get like 100, 110 subscribers a month, clockwork, for a year. Basically, the entire time I've been on YouTube, it's been the same steady growth. But then all of a sudden, the last like 6 months or so, it's it'll just stop completely, everything, and then it'll turn back on. It's freaking weird. The monetize thing and just see what happens. You know, monetize for a couple months and just see. Uh, this is airsoft, okay? There's no rules against airsoft. The plate system on the LTT sheared off, so I'll just show you this in case somebody's weird. This is a C&H plate. Aluminum plates with aluminum posts will shear. Eventually, they will shear. So LTT came out, aluminum plate, aluminum posts, sheared off after about 5,000 rounds. My dot actually went, lost 0, and it was coming loose in a match, and I realized it, and then I'm like, shit. Tightened it up, and a couple range days back and forth, and I realized, okay, the screws just won't keep tight, and took it apart, and next thing you know, the things were the posts were sheared off here. I'm losing my train of thought. I started thinking about something else. But yeah, the post got sheared off. Next thing you know, I called Langdon. My front sight fell off. So I lost my front sight in the middle of a match. And then that happened, which the front sight thing, who cares? But they told me that I installed it wrong, or they basically didn't take any responsibility for it and told me that they'd be happy to sell me another plate. And at that point, I'm just like, you know what? I've dealt with other people before, like C&H, when that sheared off, because they have a V4 plate that uses steel inserted. I get stupid comments coming in. Anyway, when I talked to Buck at C&H and told him that his V3 aluminum sheared, we spoke on the phone for 30 seconds. Address, V4 plate, 3 days later shows up. No questions asked, no nothing, no explanation, no nothing. Just, oh shit, my part broke. Sent you a new one, and that's how I expect to be treated by most good, solid companies. I don't expect someone to tell me that it's my fault, and then, especially when I explain to them how the exact chain of events was organically 5,000 rounds, things started coming loose, and then it fell apart on me. After that, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not giving them any publicity. So now, it's not like I'm going to sell it. I do like it. So I'm just going to, I think I might throw a magwell on it and get this guy on Instagram that I met to port the barrel and just make it a fun, cool gun and have a good time with it, and just go back to shooting the old Carry Optics Glock. I talked to DC Precision, I think it is, or DCL Precision. They are doing some cool shit with Glocks, like adding weight to the frame with silicone carbide, that they do like a special thing, and they can contour the grip exactly how you want it, or fatten it a little bit, and all this cool stuff. So I'm gonna have them build me up a pretty sick 17, and then just shoot it. And I've just kind of made up my mind. Whatever. And then end up, maybe I'll shoot a Sig Legion. Hell, I don't know. Whatever floats my boat, I could care less. I like M&Ps too. I could shoot an M&P tomorrow, but that's probably what it was. Touching the pistola. But I told you, these are airsoft pistols. I've been doing this every live I go on. We do a little bit of work with the old airsoft guns, and never a problem. There's no rules against that. Just shoot bolt guns. Soon enough, the bolt gun will be here. My first venture into that whole shit, which it'll probably take me till mid-year because I'm buying another. I got to buy another bike, a new bike. Mine's 4 years old now, so it's got too many hours on it. Got to get rid of that. Buy a new bike. That's 10 grand. So the bolt gun is almost paid for, but $2,000 for a scope. All the other accoutrement, it'll probably be June before I'm ready to like actually do work with it. But my buddy has a Viper PST 6 to 24 or something, and he said he could hook me up with that, and I could just use that to work with for a little while until I get I think you guys recommended a Vortex 4 to 27, 4.5 to 27, which there's nothing cooler than those Vortex anodized scopes. Like, they just look awesome. Any updates on website? See upcoming classes, training? Yeah, this spring here, wintertime, not going to do much at all until March. So by the time I have a schedule made up and everything, there'll be a website. I'm really working on trying to get appliedperformance.com. The only problem is it's taken, but it's not active, and I've been kind of dicking with this guy trying to get it. And I could do appliedperformanceshooting.com, but then that's a website long, so I'm trying to do that. I've been talking to the dude. Maybe I can give him a couple $100 or something. He'll let it go, but I don't know what the new plate was. I don't even remember. I got so pissed off. I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'll call you. And then I never even called him back. I just threw the gun in the safe and was pissed off. And then just went back to doing whatever. Yeah, I'm interested. I can't wait to get into the whole two-stroke. I rode two strokes all the way up till 2010. I tried and tried and tried. Now I don't really care. I just ride for fun anyway. But I still race. Still try to make a little money here and there when I do race. So 450 is the only way to go for me. Probably get a new Kawasaki or a new Honda. New Hondas look pretty sick. New Kawasaki's. I've been riding Kawasaki since 2007. So same old, same old. Yeah, the old LTT plate system broke on me, and they gave me some bullshit. So I just stuck the SRO back on the old faithful here, and just going back to regular work. I just don't give a shit. Yeah, hey, I've been down that road. I've been down that road. Once you get to going pretty fast, once you get to the A class, you have a hard time working against 450s. But now you can run 252 strokes against 254 strokes in amateurs. So, but for me, 450's got so much power that it's just more fun. You can be lazier, jump bigger jumps. Yeah, I've been riding Kawasaki's forever, but I got rid of a lot of things because of the bikes changing. So I don't necessarily have so many parts and stuff anymore because the bikes are so rapidly changing. So it doesn't really matter if I change brands at this point. I have a 17 Kawasaki 450 now, but it's a lot different from the 20s. Honda 500, yeah. That'd be a fun bike to buy if you can find one for halfway cheap and rebuild it and take it down to the frame and clean it all up, pimp it out. That'd be tight. Stuff like that's expensive now. Hard to find. I like the Kawasaki 500s better, just from what I've ridden. They're a blast. A little bit better motor. Yeah, I'll probably use that PST, Vortex and Trijicon AccuPower. yeah, I'll probably use that PST for a little while, 6 to 24, I think it is, and then, you know, eventually I'll just buy what I need to buy, but that'll be plenty of scope to kind of do what I need to do. As far as I've used, I mean, I've shot a little bit of long range, just kind of dicking around and learning a little bit of stuff from some people, and he has a nice bolt gun that's a chassis that he built, maybe a MDT chassis or something like that, MDR, and then he has a Ruger precision rifle that PST kind of sits on, so that'll be a fun road to go down, because I don't know shit, honestly. Like, if you tell me how many mils to hold and stuff, I mean, I can hit the target, I guess, but I don't know shit about the whole game of it. You know, as far as reading wind, I understand the concept, but I don't have any experience in it, anything like that. Mil. I do know that I don't want to mess with MOA. I want to go mil, learn that setup, really get to know it, because from what I hear from listening to you guys, that's the way to go. Just across the board, I think. Even like the 1 to 4 Steiner that I have is a mil reticle that is easy enough to use, and it just has a couple of hashes and a couple of dots that you can use for wind. So, and the hashes are actually mil, I believe. It's a BDC, it's simple, but I just don't want to mess with MOA. I don't think the MOA is a smart, because I took trigonometry and minutes of angle and just the whole thing of it, it's confusing. You know, period. Like, I understand how it all works just because I did have to take that class for machining, and you can figure it out, but it's definitely not as simple as mil. Definitely. Yeah, nothing beats the old two-stroke. I mean, to have fun. I had a 2007 KX250. Last year they made them, and it had about maybe 15 hours on it when I bought it, and I bought it like 6 years ago. Now, when I broke my leg, or had my surgeries and tore my calf and broke my kneecap and all that shit, I sold that, so that sucked. But it kind of hurts that I sold it. I took it down to the frame, had the frame powder coated, had good wheels on it, blue hubs, blue triple clamps, bright green frame. It was sick. I don't know if I have got my iPad here. Got some pictures of stuff, pretty cool shit. I could probably show you. You can probably see them on here. Let me see if I can find a picture of that old Kawasaki 250. That thing was so sweet. Yeah, this year coming up too, I'll be adding a little bit more of kind of what I do or what I've done. That's the old KX250 two-stroker that I had right here in this very basement. Whoo, she was prime time, son. Whew. PR2 was sponsored me back then and gave me free. It was so fucking nice. I wish I had it still. But hey, that's what you got to do. The current 450 that I have now is this one here, a 17 Kawasaki 450. As you can see, the basement's still unfinished. My girlfriend's getting her, well, she's got her master's degree now, so we've been just chilling out, saving money and stuff for the last couple of years. She's got big plans for a big fucking house and a big mortgage. So I'm trying to buy all the cool shit before that happens. Yeah, the Steiner 1 to 4 is a bad unit for a. I don't shoot the AR past 300 really ever. I think the furthest I've ever even shot an AR period is like 450, and that was just playing around having some fun on a big ass 24-inch gong that was super kind of easy to hit. But 300 yards with an AR, as long as you can kind of do your work out to there. And then what I like is for an LVPO, one, the Steiner is super, super good glass. Steiner glass, solid. And it has a super bright red dot, which is something you don't find. Like Vortex razors have a good red dot, but the Steiner is actually even better as far as brightness. And I like LVPOs or LPVOs to see really precise at like 50 yards or 80 yards. Not necessarily to go out to distance, because what are you really going to shoot with 5.56 past 100 yards? Even if we were in Civil War or some shit, you're really probably not going to do a whole lot of work out there that far, because you're not going to be able to identify unless you do have a ton of magnification. But then it's not going to be a great gun for other things. So that's why I kind of want to get into the bolt gun thing, to where kind of cover all your bases that way. At least I think everybody should have decent pistol skills, decent carbine skills, and then at least know a little bit about long range. So that's my next kind of venture. I know what I need to do in pistol stuff, and I'll keep teaching and just doing my thing there. But a new challenge of getting into long range, and other people are like, man, get night vision and all this stuff, and I'm like, night vision would be really fun and really cool, but that's just not high on my priority list right now. Yes, sir. Awesome. Yeah, if it's an old KX250, it'll have the old school DID wheels that kind of sucked. Now DID wheels, the XTX or the LTXs are as good as any. They're probably better than Excel, so you can't go wrong with them. Even like Tusk wheel sets, for most people, if you're not an A rider or a very fast B rider that's really slamming and hard on shit and jumping big jumps and really slamming, those Tusk wheels are like the biggest value. They are strong. They're a little heavy compared to the really good Excel or DID wheels, but they're solid. I had a pair for a year, and they lasted me the whole year. Let me see here. Sold to Bull Taco. Shit. Fractured your clavicle. I think on 78. Whew. Yeah, should have saved that thing. That thing would be worth a little chunk right now. Shot a 12-inch square target, 200 yards, Century Arms, iron sights. That ain't bad. Iron sights at 200 yards gets really hard. But yeah, that sucks. Tusk, because I'm telling you, they are they're worth every penny. Especially, like I said, I wouldn't race Supercross on them, or off-road, or GNCC or something. I'd trust them. Like I said, I used them for a whole season, and at that point I was about 220 and racing Pro-Ams and A-Class and just slamming, and they never bent or anything. I did put good spokes in them. But Supermoto racing, I've never done Supermoto racing, but I used to be into street bike shit when I was younger, and I got pretty good at that. And then I got to the point where I was like, this is a friend of mine died, and it was just like one of them things where I'm like, you know what, I'll ride dirt bikes and Harleys or some shit and kind of chill on that, because we were there was a group of us, and we just got a little wild on the street bikes, on crotch rockets and stuff. Now, supermoto on dirt bikes with street tires and 17-inch wheels is a blast. I mean, it doesn't get much more fun, but there's just not a lot of places around here to do that. There's an airport where we can do, there's autocross, and you can run supermoto there and have some fun, mess around. But for the most part, I've never really done a lot of it, besides ripping around on somebody else's bike, basically. Because to do the wheel sets and set the whole bike up is pretty expensive. So for me, racing dirt bikes every other weekend, and traveling far and running all around, it was just kind of stuck to that. And I raced in the woods, GNCCs and moto. Not a ton of GNCCs and stuff, but every once in a while, probably 2 or 3 a year, and then mainly just moto. But we would go from, like, this time of year, in about 2 weeks, January, 3 weeks time, we'll go to North Carolina, and we'll go to Club MX down there, and JWTF it's called, in Maysville, and just go ride down there, weather permitting, as long as it's not too freezing cold. Kind of get out of here and go take about 4 or 5 days. We usually just shoot down, ride 2 or 3 days at one place, 2 or 3 days at the other, have some fun. A lot of my buddies still go. We would go to Croom in Florida, because a lot of my friends don't ride or never rode or raced like I did, so they would always want to drink beer and you know, have a good time and go ride around in the trails and stuff. But Croom is a big state park facility, and it's a blast. It's a good time. There'd be hundreds of people there from all over. We go there in the middle of winter. It's nice and cold. Bill, yeah, by the beach. I think JWTF is right in Maysville, or right outside of Maysville on 58. That sounds familiar. I mean, I've been there a couple times, but I can't remember what the road names were. But that honestly does sound familiar. There's a you turn on a road, there's a little shopping center with like a Piggly Wiggly and shit, and then you keep on cruising down that road, and the track is right there on the right. Big ass facility, wide open, flat. Same exact place. But North Carolina is kind of a hotbed. There's a lot of tracks, a lot of fun shit down there. What's this say here? Vintage moto is popular. Yeah, a lot of my buddies are into it. Older guys are into it, and then we go every year. High Point in Pennsylvania has a vintage race weekend, and it's a blast. It's a good time. They even put some money up in a couple of things, and those older guys will let me and my buddy Joey, who's a really fast young guy, they'll let us race those old bikes, and it's a good time. I mean, you're kind of worried about breaking them in half, but it's still fun. Talk about the remote training a little bit. Yeah, basically what we do is kind of like this. We use FaceTime, Zoom, Google Duo if you got junk phones like Samsung phones and shit. But we kind of dry practice together. I watch all your movements. I don't really get to dry practice that much. I'm obviously going to show you a couple things, and then kind of just look at what you're doing, and then explain how we can get some inefficiencies out of it. And then we talk about all the different concepts of fundamentals, grip, getting your index right, posture, structure, everything, all the fundamental stuff that you need. And then give you a little bit of time in between to dry practice, kind of work it out, and go to the range, work some things out, see what it is. And then you just kind of send me some video here and there in between, and then we get together again, work through everything, see how much of it you're really getting, understanding, and then you know, either do 2 weeks, kind of a little tune-up thing, or a 1 month thing. And it doesn't matter if it's one person or two people. It's really simple to do, and you'd be super duper duper surprised how good you can get just dry practicing. And then when you go to the range, you're like, wow, like everything is so easy, like way easier. Now you obviously got to put down rounds down range and put in your time one way or the other, but it makes a huge difference to just dry practice, get your kind of grip set right, get your index right to where you can put the gun right up in front of your face exactly the way you want to. Sight picture, sight alignment, just go through all that shit. And if you already know how to shoot, you kind of understand the fundamentals of marksmanship. And we go through the fundamentals of shooting, manipulation, how to really work the gun, and then just try to take all the inefficiency out of your movements, stuff like that. So we go pretty deep into everything, just depending on who the person is and what they want. Some people, if they're a really good shooter, we just kind of work on one refined area, but it takes, you know, the better you get, the smaller gains you make. So we might work on 1 or 2 refined areas for literally a month and just try to make big gains in that one area. If you're fairly new to it, you can just you can make huge gains. Plus you learn how to kind of dry practice. And that's the biggest thing, the concepts and philosophies behind dry practice, what you want to look for, what you want to do. That shit, man, that's worth its weight, because then you can use that basically forever. And bull taco, 330 sizes, and I always thought they had like a 390 or 380 maybe. There was all kinds of weird ones. Uh, Down in North Carolina, yeah. I know that we went out to the beach and kind of dicked around. Now, right there, close to the place, we stay in the little cabins, or we would pull a trailer, a camper down, depending on who I went with. I don't have a camper. Sometimes I borrow one, but then they have these little cabins you can stay in. So, you know, we would stay in them. But we went out to the beach, kind of rode around the towns. Now, obviously, it's middle of winter. There's nothing going on, but there's kind of nothing around there. There's no real, like, as far as restaurants and stuff like that. And we stayed in a hotel one year. Just me and one buddy of mine went and stayed in a hotel. Man, it was a good time. But we went to we were out in the middle of nowhere and got lost, and then literally in the middle of nowhere on this straight ass road, there's a strip club. And of course, we're like, oh shit, we'll go there, you know. We go in there, and then it was just an absolute joke from there on. Middle of nowhere in a state you don't know where the hell you're at. It was a good time. We actually got lost, so lost that we ended up turning around in our own hotel parking lot and went to leave, went to drive out, and my buddy's like, hey, we ate at a Mexican restaurant earlier on that night. He's like, man, is that restaurant? Next thing you know, we look around, fucking sitting in the hotel parking lot, about to drive down the road in the wrong direction. It's a good time. Well, putting tape on the magwell trick, that's not mine. I saw Travis Tomasi do that in a little post, and it's definitely a fun drill. A lot of accountability there, man. You screw up a little bit. And then one other little thing is, if you, I always put a tiny bit, I even bought a new one of these today, and it's totally dried up. Freaking paint pen. Totally dried up. But anyway, I put a tiny little witness mark, like a little white mark, right there, so that when I don't have a mag, when I'm indexing and kind of roll over for my load, if I just see that, just barely see that white, bang, I know I'm rolled over basically. Now It's something you just see for a split second, but just that little bit helps. Anything helps. Just any little advantage or cue you can give yourself. But the taping the magwell up and then trying to hit your perfect reloads, man, that's definitely good. And then as far as what I do to really work my draw and index the same way is I just simply draw to an extremely small target. So get my little piece of paper out of there. So I'll draw right here. I've got a light switch at about 5 yards. Instead of trying to draw to one of my little targets like this or something, I'll go for that light switch, but I'll go for the light switch itself. Draw, perfect sight picture, perfect dot right where I want it, and break. And then just try to get that as quickly as possible. And then be really accountable. Don't actually break the trigger until you're right on that freaking light switch. Now are insane. 450s, brand new 450s have about 60 horsepower and weigh 225 pounds. They are basically rocket ships. I mean, so much power. Put it this way, when even my big ass, I weigh 249, 250, 252 right now, right? My big ass on a 450, if I jump a jump and land in the pocket between two jumps, if I'm on the ground for 20 feet, I can jump 80. That's how fast and ridiculous these things are. If I come out of a turn from me to that wall that's 25 feet away, I can jump 80 feet, 90 feet. Second gear is good for close to 100 feet. So if you have a nice, nice faced up jump, there's plenty of big jumps around where second gear completely wide open on a 450. Second gear, you will clear 100 foot if you kind of know how to do it. If you kind of know how to put a little English into her. But the bikes, suspension wise, chassis wise, how light they are and how fast they are, fuel injected, you can whack, hit the throttle and it'll just pow. I mean, they're like street bikes, like crotch rockets, that level. They steal a lot of technology, but it's just insane, especially since they've been fuel injected. And then, yeah, the old bikes, if you rode like a 2000 model or even a 2010 model compared to a 2020, it's mind-blowing how good they are. And they were awesome in 2010. They were good in 2000 and like 1980 compared to now, it's have to get the paint pen trick. I try to keep it up as much as I can, kind of on plane. So basically, for concealment reloads, I come in a little bit tighter to me, right? Just because obviously in a concealed gunfight, you're probably never going to be reloading the pistol. But as far as concealment work in general, if I got to do something to the pistol, whatever it is, I want to do it in here a little bit closer because I'm in a fight of some sort. I don't want to be hanging the pistol out here competition style. So everything that I do, if you notice in videos, you'll see me from concealment, I'll come maybe a little bit lower, a little bit tighter to me, kind of work on everything right here. For competition, I want to keep everything as much up on this line as I can. So I'm pointed at the target. I come in a little bit, and this will be one thing that might help you. If you come straight in, see how this hand is like a goose head. A goose head is what I call it. So a lot of people will kind of come in, then they'll go like this, the gun's pointing straight up in the air, and then when they got to roll all the way back on. Just come straight back. So you're still pointed at the target. Mag will drop free because it's vertical. Then all you got to do is literally come in, build that little goose head, and just tilt it about 45 till you can see that little mark. Boom. So a lot of people think too much about the actual insertion and not enough about the rollback on and building, because where speed comes from is getting the next shot off, not necessarily how fast. You know, I can slam a reload like a madman here, but if I can't build my grip perfect and get a perfect dot sight picture on the target very rapidly after I drive the mag, then what good is it? So the subsequent shot is the big thing, the subsequent sight picture. So anything you can do to kind of be here, reload, be here, right? Then from concealment, if you're thinking a little bit more on the gunfighting side of the house, any manipulations that I want to do there, I'm going to come in just a little bit tighter, kind of, you know, work in my space a little bit more. That way, one, if I'm moving or running or I'm in a building or something, I don't smack off of something as I go, or if I'm in a close entangled fight of some sort. Because people think about, like, you'll never do a reload in a fight. Well, you probably won't need to reload, but if you get a malfunction, maybe it's a magazine problem. You know, ammo, mag, gun. That's usually the order of how malfunctions happen. So if it's a magazine issue, I'm just going to drop that one and get a new one. And then also, weird shit happens in fights. And if I'm trying to, like, fight some dude and shoot him, and then I get it out of battery or I get a malfunction, who's to say I won't somehow inadvertently just drop my own magazine? Or maybe dude has a hand on the gun, or, I mean, crazy shit happens, and it's really, really weird. So that's why I practice all the different stuff, is just so that I can be really, really good at anything. So if I go bang, 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 click, I'll work on the thing. I'll get her working again in about, you know, a second, and go back to work, instead of really worrying about is this statistically feasible, or is, because a lot of people don't ever practice reloads whatsoever. And it's like, all right, well, yeah, you probably won't have to reload a gunfight, but it's a manipulation of the pistol. It's a mechanic. It's a task. The better we get at it, the better we get. Stupid shit. At that strip club in the middle of nowhere, first of all, me and my buddy were the only white people in there, which was funny. But we had a great time. I'm telling you. Too good a time, obviously. But, I mean, we walk in, and I'm talking about driving down a road, flat, straight road. All the roads look alike. You don't know where the hell you're at. And just happened upon it. And we're like, all right, well, you know, go in here and have a beer or two. Plus, this was a couple years ago. Shit, this was a while ago. It was probably 7 years ago. So we're only 23. So we were just having a good time. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, we were the only white dudes in there, and we had a great time. It was a good time. We made it out alive somehow. Well, my phone's about to die, and it's 11 o'clock. So I need to do more of these live streams. I just never really think about it. I kind of think about it, and then I just never do it. You know what I mean? And then surprising to have 20 people in here right now. So I just need to do more of it. Kind of put out some questions. One live stream that I want to do is about grip. So if you guys got questions, I guess I can put out a post, but I tried that and like 50 people saw it. So I don't know what the hell the deal is with YouTube, but maybe I'll do like a real quick 30-second video where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a live stream tonight at 8 o'clock or something, and then, you know, you guys can put the questions in the comments, and obviously it's good to have questions, but then you can just ask questions there. But one I want to do is grip, because people are constantly asking questions about grip, even though I've got several grip videos from last year and stuff. It's just something that's good to talk about. No matter what, there's always going to be some little nugget that pops out that might work for somebody. And then I got a really cool interview that I'm going to do on Instagram with a buddy of mine from Wisconsin. And he's a strength and conditioning coach, but he's just starting to do classes for shooting, for USPSA mainly. But strength and conditioning coach, kind of teaching shooting, right? So he's actually coming to my range June 5th and 6th. If you guys would like to get in on that, anybody. It's already booked up. The date's booked. The class isn't filled up yet or anything. We just kind of did it a little bit ago, but it's going to be a 2-day thing. 1 day is basically all kind of movement technique, strength and conditioning movements without any guns, kind of really learning how to move more efficiently, move better. And then the second day will be putting the gun into that equation. So that'll be a really cool thing. And I'm doing a question and answer, kind of a little podcast or whatever with him this week. And I will, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I will screen record it or something, maybe figure it out and be able to upload it here. So that'll be pretty fun. And then I think there'll be a lot of stuff in there that kind of outside the box shit. He thinks about things more as, you know, without the pistol, thinking about vision training and just plain on movement, fitness, whatever, all kinds of shit like that. And then I think that'll be pretty fun. But we'll do more of these live streams. I appreciate you guys hanging out, talking, bullshitting here. So take her easy.